G'day everybody, how are you going today? It is so very good to see you. Today we've just got a quick news update on bits and pieces from across the web from the last week or so. Even so, we're in a declining industry, they tell us, with declining sales. There is still a hell of a lot going on in the camera industry. And I want to start today with the Canon R3. There has now been more specifications released, and I just wanted to touch on those, and I also wanted to touch on perhaps what Canon and Nikon might be doing here in regards to circling around each other as they both get out their first full-size, professionally gripped mirrorless cameras. The Z9 and the R3 will be the first two full-frame mirrorless cameras in this category ever. So let's talk about what we know about the R3, and I think it's super interesting that Canon has given Gordon Laing, this is a video of Gordon Laing's, a screenshot from Gordon at Camera Labs. They've actually physically given Gordon a real copy of the R3 so he can show it off in his video. Now, I think this is great proof. It's great proof of concept. It's great social proof. It's very data heavy. The camera is here and it exists. And how I think this dovetails into Nikon's world is I've often talked about the fact that the Z9 exists, and right now it's just in testing. It's in full production testing. And they've probably had alpha and beta versions of this camera in the hands of photographers for quite a long time. Of course they do, because they need to refine it as they get very close to the end. And here we have an R3. Now, Gordon wasn't able to turn it on, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't work. I think that's more because they are still not talking about the sensor size. Now, I think they're not talking about the sensor size because the sensor size is going to be on the smaller side. With this camera, they're not talking about 8K, and that's fine because this is the R3. It is not the R1. It is not their flagship body yet. So I think this camera is probably going to be somewhere between maybe 20 and 30 megapixels, but for some reason, they just don't want to talk about it yet. And by turning the camera on, Gordon would have very quickly seen what the megapixels were. So this is super interesting. I don't think it's necessary for this sort of game to be played, but Canon are doing it. So they really are showing us that this camera exists, it's real, it's got a lot of specifications except actually its resolution, which is strange because it's a stills camera, and that's kind of an absolutely pivotal point of a camera is what is its resolution. It will allow people to decide whether they're interested or not. That's the marketing. So I think it's marketing wise super strong, and it is informing us a little bit more about this camera and the dance that they're playing with the Z9. Let's talk about the specs that we know. It is going to be a full-framed, stacked BSI sensor. So this is fantastic, and it's going to be super fast. They're also stating that it is shooting at 30 frames per second. Something that's going to be exciting to a lot of users, and I am personally in the camp where I wouldn't mind flipping screens. It's something that a lot of manufacturers do. Canon have done it for a long time. Sony are now getting into it. Maybe Nikon will get into it one day, but this R3, which I think is going to be a really strong 4K machine. They talked about it being oversampled 4K. Well, it does have a flippy screen. Great. And there's the new hot shoe. Now, taking a leaf from Sony's book, they've created an intelligent hot shoe which will be able to pass data and power through this hot shoe. Now, it might be able to do all sorts of things, have monitors, microphones, flash systems, complicated flash systems, who knows? But the fact that it's an intelligent hot shoe, I think, is a forward step, and it's one that we would really like to see all manufacturers do over time. Now, Canon state, which I think is absolutely amazing, and I haven't had a chance to test it myself. We saw it in the R5, I think, or maybe it was seven or eight stops anyway, that this camera will have 8 stops of stabilization depending upon which lens you're using. Now, that's a heap. I mean, that is so many stops. Amazing. Now, something that I'm excited about is the fact that there is internal RAW. This is certainly something that I want to see with the Z9. They are also going to have the Canon 4K Log 3 in there. So these things coupled together, as I said just before, will make this a very powerful 4K video machine. Now, Nikon talked about this in their recent conversation with some Nikon executives, and they stated that they know the importance of video and they will be adding more and more features. Nikon, Sony, and Canon just getting these amazing machines, which are basically super fast stills cameras, or their video cameras. In essence, they're two very similar things, and that is that's what's going on here. So these are going to be super powerful machines. And another thing I just want to reiterate is that these are all facts from Canon, is that this new R3 will have car and motorbike detection. So for sports photographers, this is an amazing thing. I mean, you just throw your camera up and it's going to chase around a car. I wonder what happens in a pack. I look forward to seeing that. What's also been stated is there will be an SD and a CFexpress slots, whether it's CFexpress Type A and allows the SD like in the Sonys, or whether it's a B and just a standard SD slot, it's yet to be known. Seeing as Canon in the R5 have done it the B and SD version, not the A and SD version, I'm guessing it's going to be the B. But who knows? We will see soon enough. So that's the Canon R3. I think it's a really exciting announcement. I personally think the camera looks quite beautiful. I love the new dimpled look that they have on the grip areas. Great work there with the industrial design team at Canon. Let's move on next to Sony. Now with Sony, there are strong rumors, and we're pretty much being told this thing is coming. There's a new APS-C camera. It's called the ZV-E10. Now this is going to be a detachable lens camera somewhere below the A7C, but it's not full frame, it's cropped. So Sony here are doubling, if not tripling down on the vlogging crowd, creating an even less expensive vlogging camera for people to do what I am doing right here now, create content at an extraordinarily affordable price, and being able to do that with a camera that allows for detachable lenses. Look, I think this is a very smart strategy, and it gets Sony just at every end of the spectrum, and people being able to use their E-mount lenses. Now this is basically the camera that we thought was coming from Nikon. As I said in my last video, I think this camera is going to still come from Nikon, but their priority right now is at the high end, and we might have to wait 6 to 12 months for an entry-level APS-C vlogging camera. So again, all the camera companies are fighting for the same space. We've got the A1, the R3 and the Z9 at the top, and we've got down the bottom Sony putting out this camera, rumoured, and also rumoured Nikon in this same space. Canon also have their versions of these things with the M-mount cameras. Interestingly, they haven't chased the APS-C market with the RF mount. Perhaps that's something that will come from Canon. And it was rumoured about 6 months ago that Canon were working on the Canon EOS R7 with an APS-C sensor coming perhaps in the second half of this year. Now on Nikon news, if you didn't watch my most recent video about the new lenses, Nikon have let us know via an executive working out of China that there will absolutely be tele lenses that arrive with the Z9. So that's fact. That's come from the horse's mouth. The only thing is when is the Z9 going to arrive? Now, I've had kind of multiple sources tell me we should be expecting it around the Olympics, but none of this is verified. Just like we saw with the R3, I absolutely believe that there are working versions of the Z9. I believe they're in the hands of professional sports photographers. Of course, Nikon is already testing everything out, doing the final tweaks before they go into full production, and they will have fully working models. So I do think if the Olympics goes ahead, and it's only, 5 or 6 weeks away, something like that, maybe even less, there will be Z9s and there will be these tellies. These things exist. There's no way they can be released in the next, let's say, 3 months and they don't already have fully working prototypes. So just like we saw with the R3 and with Gordon here, Z9s exist. I really wish Nikon would actually do something to what Canon did here. I think this is a super smart marketing move from Canon to physically show the camera in the wild with a real person who's not a Canon person, who is just a general person. It's a great idea. Tellies are coming. There's going to be one or more with the Z9. That is from Nikon directly. Will it be at the Olympics? Let's hope. That's 6 weeks away. I think they didn't announce anything in their recent announcement because it's better to have multiple marketing opportunities than to put a whole lot of stuff together. That's just marketing 101. So I think it's fine that they've held off on that announcement. And yeah, I'd be very happy to see it in the next, let's say, 4 to 8 weeks, some more information around the Z9 and some tele lenses. And also to reiterate, if you didn't watch yesterday's video, the representative from Nikon reiterated yet again that they expect to have 30 lenses out by the end of fiscal year 2021, which is March 2022. So what is that? That's 9 or 10 months. It's still possible. It just means that they would be putting out about a lens a month. Well, they've just announced 4 lenses at once, so that's a big leap in one go. So I still think it's completely possible. And for people who are interested in the F mount, indeed, there is still no news as to whether there'll be a D860, a D880, or any replacement for the D850. Of course, I want to reiterate that the D850 is still not due for its 4-year cycle to end yet. It's towards the end of this year. And it's possible we will know about the Z8 by the time that 4-year limit expires. So it's still unknown. I think my reading of the tea leaves is that Nikon is very unsure as to whether to continue to invest in the F mount as everybody is slowly migrating. And of course, with my other recent video, Getting F'd, I really wanted to show there to F users that in so many cases, you might have a closet, you might have 50 years of lenses from all different manufacturers and brands and so on, is that so many of these lenses work so well on the Z mount. Of course, I do understand that the older screw mount Nikon lenses do not autofocus. But honestly, there is, as I did in a video quite a long time ago now, you can see it right here, that there is over 100 lenses that do work with, and this is Nikon lenses that do work as they should on the F to Z adapter. So anyway, no more F news at the moment. Who knows? Moving on to Panasonic. Yes, the GH5 II has been announced. And along with that, a little bit of a surprise because, contrary to rumours, the GH6 is expected at the end of this year. We don't know a super amount about it, but one thing is it'll have a much faster sensor than the GH5, that it's going to shoot 5.7K at 60p. It'll also be able to shoot 10-bit 4K 120p. Now that's fantastic. It is expected that the GH6 will have a truly unlimited recording time, and that is something that a lot of people are looking for. So there you go. That's the brief news update for this week. I do hope you're having a good time. Our lockdown here continues. I'm itching to get out in the field and take more photographs. Alas, not possible at the moment, so I'm sorry to be studio bound. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments below about any of the things that we have just talked about. Fantastic to see you. If this is your first time here, well, I would love to see you again, so please do subscribe. Please share, please like, click on the notification bell, and visit us at our website. Well, I look forward to seeing you super soon. Look after yourself and bye for now.